directly with Lafayette West began in 2014 when I was working with Walter Cohn of blessed memory, a distinguished local developer, on Ducharme Place just down the street, which Norm and I ultimately provided financing for on the equity side. Several times a week, I would drive by Shapiro Hall with its 4 acres of vacant parking, numerous broken windows, and periodic arson fires, and wonder, why is this amazing piece of property sitting vacant in this incredible location? I eventually picked up the phone and began a long and challenging negotiation, resulting in Norm and I buying the property in May of 2018. Along the way, we had many partners who made significant contributions. Some came and went, some left and came back, and some never left, many of whom are here today. The reality of building a community for 330 families and more than 500 people is not remotely conceivable without a trusted public-private partnership, working in concert under the demanding circumstances and high stakes, not to mention with me at the helm, with constant briefings, Zoom calls, high expectations, and hopefully high rewards. There are a lot of early career professionals on our team, and I hope they have found their participation to be rewarding and helpful as they build their careers. A couple important facts. Lafayette West recently committed with a partnership with DTE to provide EV charging stations for 100% of our residents. We feel this is unprecedented, but an important investment in the environment and the needs of our community. The bottom line is, if you live here, you charge here. We believe this could be one of the first of its type. Another notable fact is Lafayette West was the first opportunity zone in the city of Detroit back in 2018, and perhaps the largest to date. These zones motivate investment in economically challenged areas. And finally, we are making a significant investment in a co-working facility to allow people to live and work here and to allow us to attract professionals from all over the world and work remotely from their new home in Lafayette Park. Thanks to our talented team, we are on schedule for delivery of our first 35 condominiums, which are off to your left, those 3 towers. And the steel is up today there on the half of the first floor. And on the far right, those towers are our first building with 102 apartment units. And if all goes well, we anticipate about this time next year, you'll see moving trucks pulling into those parking lots. Now it's time for the shout-outs, and there's a lot of them. There's actually over 40 organizations and 150 professionals that have been involved with this. I can't give all the names, so forgive me. I'm doing a lot of first names today, and I'm trying to do it by group. So, on our architectural design and branding team, we have our architect of record, Ghaffari, and Yusuf Ghaffari here today, the founder of the organization. We have Perini, a women-owned interior design team, and if you've seen their work, it's second to none. We have Zoyas, who's done all of our branding and color work, and Fast Signs, all of our actual advertising signs. Our finance team, led by Norm Pappas on the equity side at Pappas Financial. UC Funds, represented by Don Monago, who came in from Boston today, is our construction lender who has made a significant commitment. And Kyle from Petros Pace, also a significant commitment to enable this beginning of construction. The Lean and Green Michigan organization, which is the PACE administrator, several people are here today. The Plant Moran team, we've had over 7 people involved. And the Flagstar residential mortgage team, who is actively providing mortgages and partnering with our home buyers. Our construction engineering team. So I have to pause here for a second. Alex, can you stand? Alex Ivaniki. Alex Ivaniki is actually on his 2nd tour of duty. He was active in the beginning in 2019, 2020, while at Barton Mallow for over 30 years. That approach ultimately did not come to fruition, but we recruited him back a year ago. We pulled him off the golf course because he was just into retirement, and he is responsible for our on-schedule, on-budget delivery. Thank you, Alex. Okay, our construction managers, under very trying times, the joint venture of Brinker and A.M. Higley, and we welcome Garrett, who came up from Cleveland today. The Blaze organization, in record time, who removed a significant amount of dirt and replaced it as part of our remediation plan, and we appreciate the neighborhood's cooperation with, we're actually paving the asphalt tomorrow, so we're done with the street. Thank you for your patience. PM Environmental on all our environmental incentive work. PEA Engineering on all the very complicated engineering. Gold Star and Cannon, who put together this center in a record 6 weeks. Our security team, led by Prudential. Our sales team, led by App Properties and Micah and Company, and our apartment leasing team, led by Formidable. Our PR and social media team, led by Tatiana Grant, who put this whole program together today, Connor Edwards on internet, and Kate Petrillo on social. Our legal team, led by our general counsel, Tony Pisano, and Butch Howell as special counsel to me, and Bill Freeman, our condo law expert. And now we come to the city of Detroit. I'm going to have to take a quick swig here. It's just iced tea. But I think I need something afterwards, maybe. Okay. The mayor's office. Yeah, we're going to slow down. Amanda, thank you, Amanda, wherever you are. Amanda Elias, just getting it done whenever we need it. John Roach on the communications team. Planning and development, going way back to the guidance and the education that we got from Maurice Cox about connecting the grid in 15-minute neighborhoods, and Antoine Bryan and his team who have taken over today. The legal department, B. Seed and James Foster for taking care of business, the zoning team. Our folks at Wayne County and all of their work on the PACE activity. And at the city as well, the CREO team. Thank you for keeping us on schedule with our reporting. Vince Keaton, I don't know if you're here today. I'm actually not sure which department Vince is in, but he was very instrumental in our neighborhood relations. The DGC, Nevin and Kenyatta and Brian Vosberg on DBRA. Several people from the Michigan Strategic Fund, including Dominic, who is making a presentation today. And most importantly, for the long haul, our neighbors in our community. Lafayette West is being developed under a Community Benefits Ordinance Agreement, which includes our Neighborhood Advisory Council. While this was a long and arduous process, the high standards and expectations of our community are respected and appreciated because this obligates us to maintain these standards on a long-term basis for the residents of Lafayette West, which is in our mutual interest. We especially appreciate the support of our immediate neighbor, Mr. Horatio Williams, and all of the important things he does for our community. We are now focusing on evolving our relationships with the leadership of our neighboring co-ops, apartment management companies, and other community organizations, as again, we're in this for the long haul, and we look forward to building lasting partnerships. Now on with the show. Our first presenter is my partner, Norm Pappas. Norm and I have had literally hundreds and hundreds of hours of conversation about Lafayette West over the nearly 5 years we've been involved with this. They've been long conversations. In the end, Norm typically has the final word, which is fine, because Norm always comes through. Whenever there was a need, whether it was financial or otherwise, Norm was there looking out for the interest of his investors and for the project. Please join me in welcoming Norm Pappas.
Thank you. One of our recent conversations was, Norm, I think you should wear a tie. The last groundbreaking in Greektown, he and I were the only ones wearing ties. So I said, do you think the mayor's going to wear a tie? I said, if the mayor's not wearing a tie, I'm not wearing a tie. So I'd like to thank all of the people that are here on the stage in person who have really helped us get this project off the ground. It's great to be with the mayor and all the great things that you do and your team does. And for those of you who know Mark Bennett, he has high energy. He has a keen sense of detail, and he's a taskmaster to make sure things get done. These things don't get done with an attention to detail like he has. And his partner in leading the completion of this great project is Alex Ivanicki, who he introduced, who is a savvy veteran of the construction industry with a lot of experience and wisdom. That doesn't speak to your age, Alex, just experience and wisdom. My job is primarily to raise the capital, and I really want to thank the investors, and we have some here, Margot, Paul, Steve, and we have over 100 investors in this project who really want Detroit to be successful. And maybe in the other things we've done, we have over 300 investors. They care about Detroit, and they care about this success. And sometimes, in addition to the job of raising the capital, I sit with Mark and Alex about brush fires we have to deal with. But they're a great team, and it takes a village to make something like this happen, and we have a great village. And I want to thank you all for being here. And my quota was 10 minutes. I always like to be under quota.
Okay. Thank you, Norm. But for Mayor Duggan, we would not be here, as he provided the motivation and vision when Detroit was near its bottom, that the future was brighter than the past. Now, deep into his third consecutive of at least 4 terms, maybe, as our mayor, I'm proud to introduce the 75th mayor of the city of Detroit, the Honorable Mike Duggan.
I was thinking about staying longer, but after Ike Mckinnon left as deputy mayor, job's gotten a lot tougher. So I'm not sure if I'm going to last. He just shows up for the parties and the announcements now. He's got a great gig. So, but congratulations to Mark and to Norm. For 20 years, we drove past the abandoned Shapiro Hall covered with graffiti, a reminder of yet somebody else who moved out of this neighborhood. And the history goes back even farther, and we've got a clear vision of what we're trying to do here. As Mark mentioned, the ditch that was dug through this city, that's 375, did enormous damage. And I have been interested, as have mayors in a number of cities in America, of bringing back these freeways to grade level and knitting the communities back together. And we started when our planning director was a fellow by the name of Maurice Cox. And I was a little surprised when we started, and the first pushback we got was some folks in Lafayette Park, who I would have thought would have been the first ones who would be happy to be rid of the ditch. And when you talked to them, they said, well, right across the street, you got this huge Blue Cross office building. If you narrow 375, what's our protection that office buildings don't start flowing over here and the beautiful residential nature of Lafayette Park is lost? Was a very legitimate concern. We committed that residential would be the primary focus over here, and we promised that this site would be one of the first developed, so that everybody in Lafayette Park knew this was going to remain a residential neighborhood. And can you imagine this? 318 units. Coming out of COVID, 318 more families going to move into the city. 20% of the apartments are set aside as affordable. I always wanted to be the mayor of the city where you had to build housing units, hundreds at a time, to accommodate the people who want to live in your town. But when it came to this project, we went even further, because I've been obsessive that those who stayed will not be pushed out by those who are moving in. And so this process actually went through a formal community benefits process where the neighbors sat on the committee, signed off on the commitments that Mark and Norm made to the community, which are locked in to a binding agreement. And some of them may not seem major to you, but they're huge to the people in the neighborhood. For example, the streets in here are already overcrowded with cars. The neighbors wanted to make sure that the new apartment building accommodated the cars on site so it didn't make things worse for the others. They wanted to make sure that the lighting of these apartments were not so bright that they took away from the beautiful views that you have in the existing apartments. And there were a whole series of accommodations like that. This was a collaborative process between the neighbors and Mark and Norm. I couldn't be more pleased, and I can't wait to see folks moving in here in 2023. And so our strong partner on every one of these projects, and particularly on the commitment that 20% of all new apartments built in this city will be set aside permanently as affordable, so we will have people of a range of incomes in every neighborhood, because that's what Detroit is our great Councilman Coleman Young.
Appreciate you. Hello, Lafayette West. Huh? You did it. You made it. You know, I want to say a quote from a great person that says, it's not the beauty of a building you should look at, it's the construction of the foundation that will stand the test of time. And I think what's great about this project is, as wonderful as it is for us to be here at this grand opening and to talk to us and to talk to our friends, it's that after we are all long and gone, this building will be here. And what it represents during a time of a global pandemic where people were losing their lives, where people need affordable shelter, people will remember that a handful of people, stout-hearted, who had the right intentions and made that a reality by providing affordable housing for Detroiters when people needed it, by providing jobs and opportunities when people needed it. And that's the foundation of what this is. So it's great that we have this. It's great that we have a community benefits agreement, that we work this out with the community. But what's most important is that the people who weren't able to feed themselves now will with the jobs. The people who didn't have housing now will have housing. The people that didn't be able to make something out of themselves will have the opportunity to do that. So this represents not just the foundation of greatness and the advancement of this project, it represents the advancement of this city. And so I'm excited to be here. I'm honored to be here. And as the son of Coleman Alexander Young, who built most of the other stuff around here, I am extremely honored to be here. And I just wanted to say to everybody, be not weary in your well-doing, because we have many great things on the horizon to accomplish. And I just want to say this in closing before I bring the next person up. Man should not aspire to stand on top of the world, but stoop down and lift mankind higher. Congratulations, Lafayette West. You did that today. Now, this man needs no introduction. I think everybody who's anybody knows him, but this is somebody who, there's just some people that you meet that make you better people, that make you want to inspire yourself to be your best self. That is this man right here. So please, let's give a very warm welcome to Butch Hollowell, everybody.
So I don't know, Norm, what the hell? I mean, so I would say that Coleman Young and me and Mark know that you can wear a tie and still be cool. So that's all I got to say, Mr. Mayor. Okay? I just want to say what a beautiful day this is, right? I mean, it just couldn't have been more handpicked beautiful than this is today. And what a wonderful addition to an iconic neighborhood. Lafayette Park, is studied the world over by urban planners for how, as the mayor says, one city for all of us. That's really what Lafayette Park has always been. I love the fact that, when I advise on legal issues such as the community benefits agreement and other things like that, that they have engaged with the neighbors so much. Going back to 2017, what would you like to see here, as the mayor said, about streets or the lighting or how you get in and out of the ingress and the egress, and how are we going to feel like this neighborhood is advanced and we are making it attractive and available for all of us. I do have some personal commitments here, contacts here too. My mom was an opera singer. And as a girl, she cut a record when she was 12 years old. She used to sing at clubs in Paradise Valley. And then when we got out of law school, we lived right there at Lafayette Towers East, and we used to shoot off bottle rockets with my son right there in the park over there, and Charlie Beckham and I played tennis over there. So I love this. I just love this area. It's a great, great part of this city. The project is tremendous. You've done a wonderful job, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Butch, my trusted advisor, my consigliere. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so our next presenter, I call him the last mile guy. Dominic and his colleagues often don't get the limelight, but they are critically important to get us over the finish line. Some of you may know, there's a labyrinth of requirements and meetings and approvals to pull off something like this. And Dominic, working with his team at the MEDC, just did a spectacular job and got it done. Please join me in welcoming Dominic Romano.
Thank you, I appreciate it. There's a lot of people in my office that should be here and should get way more attention than myself. But thank you for inviting the Michigan Economic Development Corporation to this exciting event. And thank you to all of those who are joining today to continue our support in efforts to develop vibrant, resilient communities like Detroit throughout the state. On behalf of the MEDC, congratulations to this community and to the Lafayette West team, the City of Detroit, the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy in Wayne County for helping to make this project a reality. At the MEDC, we are committed to supporting projects that help to transform and build momentum for growth and development in communities throughout Michigan. Here in Detroit, this project is doing just that. as it is breathing new life into vacant, unutilized property and bringing needed workforce housing, an improved sense of place, and an increased density and walkability to the neighborhood. It is also expected to serve as a catalyst for future investment and growth in the area. With many amenities, as well as public infrastructure improvements and commercial space, this project is creating more opportunities in Lafayette neighborhood for people to live, work, visit, and play. The Lafayette West project reflects our continued focus on supporting innovative placemaking efforts in communities throughout the state that lay the foundation for long-term economic wins and greater opportunity for Michiganders. It's a true pleasure to be here with you all today to celebrate this incredible success. Congratulations again to all who are involved in making today possible. We at the MEDC look forward to witnessing the continued impact of this project on the community for years to come. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dominic. Our next speaker, on very short notice, last fall, pulled together a team and a partnership against all odds amongst historic disruption in the construction industry to develop and execute a plan which is going to come in on time and under budget. Right, Alex? As CEO of one of the largest and rapidly growing Detroit-based construction companies, I'm happy to have with us Larry Brinker, Jr. Larry?
Good afternoon. It's an exciting day. I am the CEO of Brinker Construction and one of the principals of the Brinker-Higley joint venture. Brinker-Higley is honored to be the construction manager for this amazing development, and we look forward to constructing the Lafayette West project for the Lafayette Park community. Brinker has been headquartered in Detroit for over 30 years, so we understand that we have a responsibility to provide disadvantaged businesses and City of Detroit residents and City of Detroit-based businesses an opportunity to participate on projects such as the Lafayette West project. As a result, we are investing in and supporting City of Detroit-based businesses, along with women-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses, to help carry out the trade work on this project. We also have a commitment to provide City of Detroit residents with fair opportunities for gainful employment. As a result, 51% of the on-site tradespeople will be certified Detroit residents. Thank you. My company has had the fortune of participating in 4 groundbreakings over the last month or so. And it's so exciting to see the continued revitalization of the great city of Detroit. This couldn't happen without Mayor Duggan, the Detroit City Council, proud City of Detroit residents, developers such as the Lafayette Acquisition Partners Development Team, and construction workers who continue to show the country and the world that Detroit is back and we're here to stay. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And our final speaker, this actually turned into a dynamic duo, but let me start with, when I need to get the straight scoop on what's happening with my neighbors, I call Pat. Pat pulls no punches. She tells me how it is, and she is a dedicated leader in her community who was active with the NAC, the Neighborhood Advisory Committee, which we've referenced before, and she saw it through to the end, and I'm delighted to introduce a longtime leader and her better half, Mr. Ike Mckinnon, with Pat. Come on up. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for inviting me, Mark. And good afternoon to all the elected officials here and the guests. As Mark said, I'm a longtime Lafayette Park resident, board member of one of the Mies co-ops across the street, and I was an elected member of the Lafayette West Neighborhood Advisory Committee, where I participated in developing the plan, as the mayor talked about, to put all those little dot the i's and cross the t's to get what the community wanted and the provisions. And one thing he didn't mention is that this provision, we did have provisions in that community meeting, or in that community agreement that the developers would do park improvements over in Lafayette Plaisance Park on the other side of the Mies Co-ops, and they also gave a cash gift to the Chrysler School. My husband and I moved here back in the mid-'70s when the townhomes were selling, are you ready for this? Less than $10,000. So we got in at the right time, honey. We raised our sons here, and we find ourselves every day thankful that we live in this historical and architectural significant community where we had a front row seat to the changes that have occurred over those years. From Lafayette Clinic closing, Wayne State Pharmacy School moving to the campus, and then watching those two buildings sit vacant for years. We listened as developers suggested redeveloping them into hotels, nightclubs, bowling alleys, movie theaters, and athletic facilities. But the neighborhood stood firm. And finally, the right team came along in Lafayette West with their residential building plan, and we finally had the right fit. I remember standing on the street corner with my neighbors on demolition day as they cheered and applauded as all 12 stories of that pharmacy building fell into a pile of debris. It's been 4 years since the first community meeting right over there at that building on July 3rd, 2018, and I'm sure they've been long years for the development team, and lately some noisy ones for the neighbors as the construction has started. But this all pales in comparison to Mark's nonstop outreach and communication efforts with residents. I recall one Friday night getting a phone call, and Mark came out that Saturday because he hand-delivered door card notices to every household about potential utility shutoffs that next Monday. And then he called to find out if everybody got them, and when I told him he missed a building, he came back. Mark is also the one who follows up with every board and management company around here to make sure that they have organized mass email mailings so that everybody gets construction updates as they occur. In addition, you've heard, and he did listen when the community suggested the importance of recognizing the Black Bottom history on this development site and had a museum room created in the Welcome Center. Mark promised to be a good neighbor right from the start, and your neighborly efforts are unique, and I know, are truly appreciated. I want to congratulate you and your team and everyone involved in this project on marking another milestone in the Lafayette West development process. And finally, let me offer my joint neighborhood thanks to the city and county folks here today and their staffs for all the work and all the improvements and buildings that are occurring throughout the Detroit and Wayne County area. Please know that the residents are keeping their ears open and their fingers crossed that we'll hear some good news about that Lafayette Clinic building soon.
And so when we arrived here today, Mark said, "Ike, you're going to speak." I said, my wife was up this morning at 6 o'clock finalizing what she was doing. So I was going to say ditto to what she just said. But I have to tell you, I grew up in this neighborhood as a young boy, and my family was one of those families that was displaced in the term of urban renewal. And so we moved to another location. But ironically, when Pat and I got married, we moved to this building, and then we moved out into the park. And that's been 47 years. I'm back home. Thank you.
So that concludes the formal remarks of our program. I wanted to thank you all for taking the time, and the Weather Cooperative, of course, that expanded our crowd, so appreciate you all taking time out of your busy schedules. What we're going to do at this point is make our way to the ceremonial shovel sandbox area. The team up here is going to do the first photo shoot, and then everybody is invited with their groups and friends to put on the helmets and shovel. So thank you all very much, and we appreciate your celebrating this milestone with us. Thank you.